So this project is called the 24-Hour Drop-In at Sistering, Women's Oral Histories. What it focuses on is a transition that happened at Sistering Women's Drop-In in downtown Toronto with a pilot project starting in 2015.
In September of 2013, a homeless woman was sleeping on the steps of a closed social service agency in the downtown east at Dundas and Sherbourne. She was sexually assaulted twice in the night by 2 different men. At the time of the attacks, homeless shelters were full. Women's shelters continued to be consistently full, with women being told on a nightly basis that there is no space, despite promises from the city to maintain occupancy at 90%. In addition, we heard from women in this research project that on the rare occasion that a shelter bed is available, there are barriers, real barriers and access issues due to the complex needs of many of the women we heard from. Barriers included many rules and curfews, and some women also named drug use and stigma associated with drug use as leading to being denied access to shelters, services, and housing. The attacks that took place in 2013 led to outrage and community mobilization to demand safe space, shelter, and housing, and ultimately led to the opening of 2 24-hour drop-in spaces for women and trans people, one located in the West End, which is Sistering, at Bloor and Dovercourt, which began operating in 2015, and another one in the East End, which is being operated by Fred Victor at Adelaide.
I'm an active member of OCAP. We talked together and then we decided to go for 24-hour drop-in. We got the protests going. We went down to City Hall. We did marches. Every time we got a chance, we got on the media for women because it's unsafe out there sometimes. 80% of the time, it's unsafe out there.
There is Ashley Irwin, a PhD student from the University of Waterloo English Department, and Shama Saleh, who's an applied health sciences student, an undergraduate. So that was the Waterloo team. There were 4 women who are peer researchers at Sistering. Now, they joined the team as women with life experience, research and interview skills, with the leadership that comes from being a peer at Sistering. My name is Dr. Heather Smyth, and I'm an associate professor in the Dept of English at the University of Waterloo. I am also a board member at Sistering since 2015, and in my role on the board, I learned about this new pilot project. And I worked with some staff members at Sistering to identify the appropriate source of funding, which was Women's College Hospital and the 15K Challenge. So the project itself, the information we gathered, came from a focus group of 12 women that we did in June of 2018, and then about 40 one-on-one interviews that we did with women. The project with the idea that these interviews could be videotaped and involve myself and a student and at least a couple of peer researchers. One of the most eye-opening things I learned from this project, the peer researchers at our very first meeting said, absolutely not, we can't do that. That is going to be so off-putting. You can't have women who are participants at Sistering sitting in front of strangers telling their story to a video camera. So what happened is each interview happened with one peer researcher and one interviewee, and there was so much trust built up, I think, by doing that, that women felt comfortable sharing their truths. The peer researchers also recommended we offer each interviewee a gift bag, and they decided what should go in these gift bags, and they helped create them. So each gift bag contained a chocolate, a small stuffed animal for comfort, a pen and a notebook so they could write down their thoughts. And the women designed the covers of the notebooks and did some artwork to have positive and affirmative messages.
Through a focus group and semi-unstructured interviews conducted by peer researchers from June to September of 2018, we heard about the meaning of low barrier and harm reduction. We noted that participant women used specific words to describe the place of a low barrier harm reduction service model in their lives and in their health choices. Some of the words that were named throughout this process included freedom, not judged, welcoming, safe, hope, dignity, and independent, to pick up harm reduction supplies, to access services and supports as identified by them. Of particular note, many of the women that we spoke with said they were homeless, had nowhere else to go, and would otherwise be sleeping outside. Named significant and numerous barriers at structural and systemic levels.
We certainly learned along the way that every woman needs different things from Sistering, and it has really walked quite a very careful line in being able to meet the needs of as many women as possible. Chief among these is the use of low barrier service. So that was a key part of our project. And it's also really important to note that the low barrier approach to service and harm reduction approaches to health they're geared around giving women back their dignity, but also to honor that they are at a certain place in their life on their own path, and to help them make the best choices, the healthiest choices possible for that moment on their path.
Stigma participants and peers.
The participants a sense of acceptance and will engage more and open up, build trust with them. So I think that was a good icebreaker for a lot of women.
I think it's really clear that this is an urgent moment to pay attention to the impact of low barrier and harm reduction services on women's health outcomes. Example is one of our questions we asked in our interviews was, do you need harm reduction supplies? How important are they to you? Is it important to you that you can come and go at will at any time of day? And how important is it to you that you don't have to give your name? There were many women who said, it doesn't matter to me whether I give my name, but I know it's important to so many women. I don't use harm reduction supplies, but I pick up a bunch of them every time I'm there because I know I can pass them out to people who need them, men and women. But I know it's essential for myself in the past or for women who I'm friends with that they can come in the middle of the night and find shelter.
I had a good feeling about it. I was actually surprised there was women that were willing to talk, though, which was really good and open up. In hopes that all the women's stories could make an impact and maybe have them step up a bit and make them feel safe as they should and not have to worry about what they have.
I think the one thing that I was able to learn was really the magic of women, that despite the hardships and obstacles that the women were facing at the time or in the past, they were able to stay resilient and keep strong and move forward, really despite it all. So I really am really grateful for being a part of the project and working with these women and knowing their stories, and I hope this project will do them justice.
We learned that homelessness is a trauma. We learned that homelessness amplifies and makes more difficult all of the traumas that would lead women to find themselves unhoused. And we learned about the things that happen to women when they are homeless and how complex their lives become. I think two people a day have been dying on the streets who are homeless. The drug supply is becoming more toxic and more dangerous. The risk of overdoses is increasing. Since we began the project, 3 women that I know about sistering have died, and many more I'm sure that I did not learn about.
What gives me hope is that I know now that to have a 24-hour drop-in like that, it gives you hope that you have somewhere to go. Like, you're not alone, and there's a lot of other women who are there who are probably going through the same situation. That's why I always try to tell the women when they're at each other, nobody's better than the other. You're all in the same situation, and that's the one thing you have in common is you're a woman, you're homeless, you've been victimized, you've been traumatized, you've been used, you've been abused, and it's up to you to keep that solidarity, help each other heal, which is a big thing. It's a big thing for me. Solidarity, that's just one of my main strengths for me that I try to pass on to the women. I always tell them there's a light at the end of the tunnel because you're looking at me. I am living proof that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You may not walk to that light right now, but it still will be there. It's just up to you to make that conscious choice that if that's the path you want to choose to take. But what keeps me there is the woman. I get really scared, like if I don't go to work, someone's gonna die or something's gonna happen to the person and I won't be there to try to avoid that from happening or to intercept that. So I really thank Sistering for being my grassroots, for giving me always wanting to be going to work instead of staying home. I'd like to thank him for helping me get my life back, like my dignity, self-esteem, everything.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this project, the Women's College Hospital 15K Challenge. It was an enormously helpful source of funding and also an opportunity for a learning experience using community-based research methods. So we wouldn't have been able to do the project without that help. And I would like to thank the participants at Sistering who shared their stories with us and shared their knowledge. We learned so much from this project, from the women who were willing to share those stories.